Last year at Geekway to the West, the local gaming convention here in St. Louis that you've heard me talk about a lot, fellow game designer and past guest on this show, Phill Wamser and I sat down and played Sea Salt and Paper one evening after a long day in the booth. We were surprised by the feel of the cards, but other than that, we played 2 or 3 games back to back without really realizing it. As soon as we realized that this had been done, we decided maybe we like this elegant game design. In Sea Salt and Paper, you're trying to collect duos of animals or boats, collections of sea creatures, and mermaids to score 7 or more points as fast as you can to catch your opponents off guard. But push too long and your opponents might score more than you, or steal a card, ruining your perfect hand. All of this is beautifully illustrated with origami creations that bring this aquatic world to life. Welcome back to Lunch and Board Game. I'm your host, Adam Collins. Let's take a look at the rule clarity for Sea Salt and Paper. The rule booklet is quite clear. There are not a lot of rules. The scoring examples really help to clear up anything that might need additional explanation. Time to explain to newcomers. The teach on this game is a bit longer than you would expect. It takes about 10 minutes. While there are not a lot of rules, they are very finicky. Gameplay. There are 4 different kinds of cards. First, the duos. These cards require a matching pair to play. Each pair offers a different bonus when played and are worth 1 point as a pair when played. Collector cards are worth more as you collect, more, and these are kept in your hand. For instance, 1 shell card is worth 0 points, but 2 are worth a total of 2 points. The point multiplier cards are just that. They are worth points based on how many of a certain card you have. For example, the penguin colony is worth 2 points per penguin in your hand. Lastly, the mermaids are worth 1 point for every card you have of your largest color set. So if you have 4 dark blue cards, the mermaid would be worth 4 points. With that knowledge, let's look at how to play. You shuffle the whole 58 card deck together, flip over the top 2 to form the starting discard piles. No cards are dealt out to players. Place the rest of the deck next to the discards to form the draw deck. A player then has 2 options: take the top card of a discard pile into hand or take 2 cards from the draw deck. They must then select one of the 2 cards drawn and discard the other, placing it face up on either discard pile. If a discard pile is empty, it must be played there. Otherwise, it's the player's choice, and this is where a lot of the strategy comes into play. Now, the player can play any duo from hand, taking the bonus action. Fish allow the player to draw the top card from the draw pile into their hand. Boats give another turn. Crabs allow the player to look at one discard pile and select a card to put into hand, but be careful to keep the cards in the same order. Lastly, the swimmer-shark duo. This seems a bit dark with such a light game, and a bit morbid, but I did not make the game. So yes, you need 1 shark to attack 1 swimmer, and this duo allows the player to steal a card from an opponent. The collection of multiplier cards are not played as they are kept hidden in your hand, as are the mermaids. Now, the player at this point can either end the hand if they possess 7 or more points. If not, play passes to the left. There are 2 different ways for the game to come to an end. First, simply say stop if you have 7 or more points. Then, all hands are scored based on the points they have played and in hand by all opponents. Or you can risk it and call last chance. The active player announces how many points they have, and each player gets 1 more chance to exceed that number. If the active player is successful, they score all points as normal, plus a color bonus of 1 point for each color in their largest group. Then, all opponents only score their color bonus. However, if an opponent scores more than the active player only scores the color bonus, and all the opponents score full points. A tie goes to the active player. Points are then recorded, the deck is reshuffled, 2 new cards are flipped up, and the next round begins. Play continues until a specified point total is reached. The rules suggest 2 players play to 40, 3 players to 35, and 4 players to 30. There is another way to win, however. If a player can get all 4 mermaids in hand, they win the game immediately. Not the hand, but the entire game. I have yet to see this. I have seen a player, myself included, have 3 of them, but never all 4. Replayability. Sea Salt and Paper has tremendous replayability. It is quick and light with the right amount of strategy to keep you engaged and want to play more. The first 2 times I played it, multiple complete games were played in one sitting. Each player count adds a new level of strategy, which makes its replayability even higher. What works in 2-player doesn't work in 3. What might work in 3 probably won't work in 4. What works in 4, I don't think would work in 2. You'll understand when you play it. With more players, you now have to try and remember what other players have picked up, what they're discarding, and what they're keeping. Component quality. This is, oddly, my concern. Pandasaurus Games typically has a very high production quality. Sea Salt and Paper, being only cards, has very flimsy cards. To be fair, they have not creased or bent yet, but they do not have a heavy-duty feel to them. Honestly, this, though, is my only complaint. The telescopic box is very thick and sturdy. My guess is to protect the flimsy cards. Lunchtime potential. Sea Salt and Paper lists its time on BGG as 30 to 45 minutes. That puts it firmly playable in an hour. With the scaling of in-game points, the game plays about the same at all player counts. So yes, indeed, Sea Salt and Paper can be played in a lunch hour, and you might even be able to fit it into a fat half hour. Artwork. The artworks on the card are origami creations of the different animals and people. The attribution reads, Creation and production of the origami by Lucien Derain and Pierre-Yves Gallard. Then, with permission of Tomoko Fus for the use of the pictures of the shells. The photographer for all is listed as Pierre-Yves Gallard. I love the artwork. I simply find it beautiful and it fits the feel of the game beautifully. This might truly need to be seen to be believed. They are gorgeous. Now, the graphic design is another huge success. In the upper left is a box featuring the type of card: boat, fish, penguin, and a symbol. Each card has a color for the color bonus, but with 1 in 12 males and 1 in 200 females being colorblind, Color ADD has developed a color alphabet. These symbols are on full display here. You can learn more about Color ADD at coloradd.net. It is very interesting, and I urge you to check it out. Expansions. Believe it or not, Sea Salt and Paper does have an expansion. It is called Sea Salt and Paper Extra Salt. This is a little pack of 8 new cards that have new effects. Extra Salt introduces Jellyfish. When paired with a swimmer, causes your opponents to only be able to draw 1 card. They cannot play any cards, and they cannot end the game that round. The Lobster, when paired with a crab, can take the top 5 cards from the draw pile, select 1 to put into hand, and then shuffle the others back into the draw pile. The Seahorse acts as a wild for any collection, though you cannot exceed the normal limit for whatever collection you put it in. Lastly, the Starfish allows for a trio to be made. This combines with a duo when played and adds plus 2 points to the trio for 3 points. However, it does cancel out the effect of the duo. For the low price and the added replayability it comes with, this is basically a must-have. It adds a little more strategy to the game, and that is always welcome. A last note about Extra Salt, it does fit into the base game box nicely. Bang for the buck. The original deck of cards retails for about $14.95 and the expansion is $6.95, and both are well worth it. The only time that I've only played 1 game in a sitting was with Edward the night I taught him. It is a very compelling game that you and your coworkers will want to keep playing. Summary. Sea Salt and Paper came out back in 2002. It was a Spiel des Jahres recommended game, but not a nominee. That is sad, but still, good to see it getting attention. It is well loved on Board Game Geek with a 7.5 rating with over 14,000 ratings. The weight is 1.75, and that seems pretty accurate. There is a lot of strategy and deceiving, especially in the discarding part. Do I discard on top of what I need and hope someone takes a card clearing my way? Or do I discard in the pile next to what I need, keeping it open? Wait, what did my opponent do? Do I need to cover up their discard? Edward has become obsessed with playing this game before bed each night. It is infinitely replayable and lovable. He wishes there was a link to show all the origami that they used so he can make some of them too. They are that cute. And you can reach out to me at facebook.com/eatlunchandboardgame. Eatlunchandboardgame.com is the website. Find me on Board Game Arena. My username is eatlunchandboardgame. And you can always email me at eatlunchandboardgame@gmail.com. And remember, board games build bridges. When you're gaming, why not be comfy? Go over to supportplayer.org. Click on the cards, pieces, and dice to get some merch. These t-shirts are some of the most comfortable I have ever worn. That's supportplayer.org, and there's a link on eatlunchandboardgame.com.